fastest hour on the internet?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary, quite incredible, quite unlike anything you may have experienced in your life.
It's time for Top Spur TV. With your host, Douglas Bruce and Big Mike Fisher. Fasten your seatbelts. It's time for Top Spur.
Hey guys, and welcome back into the all-new Top Spur. I am Douglas Bruce, your host, along with my co-host and wingman extraordinaire, Big Mike Fisher. Big Mike, how the hell are you, buddy?
Still kicking, man. You know, we tried to do this earlier in the week and it didn't work out my internet, so I think we're on track now. You know, getting used to being separate is a little bit tough, you know. It was good to be together like that.
It is, and this is the first episode that we've done since I moved. So this is the first one that we've been able to pull off here, and hopefully it all works. And it takes time to, you know, when you move someplace, it takes a month to get set up, your internet in, and we were fortunate to be able to get, you know, our internet set up and everything, but it just always takes time, and you know, to get adjusted. So I've been here a month now, and just getting really situated and things at the farm, you know. So it's just taking us a while to get back to doing, you know. But the show is performing great. I was looking at some of the numbers and stuff. We got over 2,200 views, I think, on this last episode in a week's time, you know, 7 or 8 days. So a lot of people watching, a lot of subscribers now, and it's building. I think people are happy that we're doing the show again. I know I'm happy. How about you?
Yeah, I'm happy. I like doing it. Like, you know, when you messaged last night about let's trying to kick it off today, you know, I'm always up for it. I like doing this. It's, you know, I always say it's a little bit therapeutic, you know.
Yeah,
So
you know,
I can get shit off my back. I've been holding in. There's nobody. I mean, you're my only American buddy here now, you know. I mean, shit.
yeah.
Then you moved away, so
Well, and I tried it. You know, I always make plans to do. Well, let's do one tonight after 7 o'clock. You know, and then I'm
shit.
so tired by 7 o'clock. I'm like, come about 4:30, 5 o'clock, I start. You know, I'm
Yep.
melting off the screen. So it's just hard
Sure.
for me to do anything at night.
Yeah.
It's
No.
it,
Same with me. I come like the other night when you said let's try to do one at night. I came home from the gym. I eat, and I was just like, you know, I'm like you, man. I'm like, if this dude doesn't message in a few minutes, I'm tapping out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. It's just really tough to do. I'm like the roosters. I'm a daylight till dark creature. You know, I'm up before daylight and raring to go. But come dark,
Yep.
I'm looking for the roost. I'm looking for a place to roost on. You
Yeah.
know. Uh,
The same. You know, I always say when I look in the mirror, I don't see 54, but internally, biologically, I'm
yeah.
54. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
and it's that biological clock. I'm like, boom, it's shutdown time. Let's go to sleep. You know, or at least
I'm pushing
get in
60.
my workout mode.
I'm pushing 60. I mean, it's just, you know, I'll be 59 in September, and I just can't see it. I mean, I look at myself, I'm thinking, yeah, but, you know, looking, I in my head, I'm still 35. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, my kid's still,
Yeah.
Desmond's still, you know, a teenager. But
Yep.
he's the one, actually, he's 36 and got 4 kids now. It's crazy how time flies by, and you wake up one day and
Yep.
it's like, where the hell did it go? You know?
Sure.
It's really rough.
Yep.
Well, today, Mike, we're going to be talking about passion or performance. And what we mean by that is, are you in the game fowl business because of your passion for the fowl, which I think there's a lot of people that are, or are you in it to win it? Are you a game fowl breeder, or are you a cockfighter? And I think there's some lap over in that. There's a lot of guys, but there's also a lot of guys that just breed game fowl. They might fight once a year, if that, once or twice a year. But then, especially here in the Philippines, you got guys that fight every week, and they don't
Sure.
care if they raise the fowl or not. They buy fowl.
Yep.
They secure fowl from other places. Uh,
Yep.
uh, you know, and they're just in it for the fight.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like even me, I said I was getting back into it, and here I've been fighting every week again. Fought one again last week. So I think that it depends on where you're at in your life sometimes,
Yeah,
because if like Ferrante at the end of last month, he said, Mike, can we fight this 3 wins? It's for 45,000. And I said, you know what, man, it's the end of the month, the last week of the month. At the last week, I tighten up. My wife just asked me about a screen door, and I told her wait till payday. And if I tell you let's fight this derby here, I'm gonna be up shit creek. So
yeah.
I think it depends on where you're at in your life and what you're doing. Because I could have just last 2 years I didn't breed. I was just feeding chickens. So I think that it just depends on where a guy's at in that particular stage of his life and what
Yeah,
he's
you're
doing.
you're you're exactly right. You're exactly right, and uh, uh, it that's kind of what we want to talk about today is what phase are you at right now, and is it just a passion for you, or is it something that you're pursuing, all balls to the wall, headed, trying to headed for your World Slasher Cup debut. Guys, we want to mention to you, we are on the channel here is called Spurred Chronicles. You can find us here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you're not already subscribed. We've nearly doubled in subscriptions in the last 2 weeks, Mike. We went from 200 and something to over 400 subscribers here in just the last 2 weeks. Like I said, the show has been. I think we finally got in the algorithm, and it's been people are finding us and catching on to where we are. I want to mention Buzzsprout, Buzzsprout.com. That's the audio podcast that we do. That's the host of the audio podcast. Now you can find us on like Spotify. That's probably the biggest one, but we're on probably 16 or 17 different podcast providers, almost everybody. Only one we're not on is Apple, because Apple's such a prick to deal with. So we're not on Apple, but you can get us just about anywhere else. Spotify is probably the biggest. That's where Joe Rogan does his show and all that. Uh, I want to mention that if you are messaging me on the Buzzsprout fan mail, guys, I cannot reply to that. There is no mechanism to reply, and so it's better if you're listening to that show or you're watching us on YouTube, that you just email us at Bruce and Big Mike at gmail.com. That way I can reply to it. I can read your fan mail there on Buzzsprout, but I cannot reply to it. So if you got questions or I had somebody that got kind of sideways with me because they'd sent me 4 or 5 messages and then I'm not responding, and he's like, oh, you think you're too big a hot shot to reply. No, I don't have any way to reply, especially if you don't. Now, if you want to message me on there and give me an email address or some way to contact you, then I'll be happy to message you back. So I also want to
Yeah,
mention
because honestly, you're good about replying to people on email. I mean, I tell you, me on the other hand, I'm not. So if you're not messaging somebody back, there's definitely a glitch in the system there.
Very,
So
very
yeah,
rarely do I ever skip. I'll leave them up for 4 or 5 days, and sometimes it takes me 4 or 5 days to a week to get back to them because I get a ton of email and messages. But I usually always 98% of the time I reply back to people if I see their message, whether it's email or messenger or whatever. I'm pretty good about replying to people. The books, DVDs, all the Perfect Point stuff, masterclass, the streams, uh, they're all available at our website, topspur.tv. You can get them there. Also, I want to mention that this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. on the East Coast, we'll be doing a live breeders class. Now, this will probably be the last breeders class I do for a while. My schedule with Black Rooster and the farm here in Rizal is just really picking up. So it's the breeders class is much more difficult for me to do than the pointing class. I can do the pointing classes in my sleep, but there's a lot more information in the breeders class. So this will probably be the last one I do for a little while. So if you guys are interested, you can go to the website. It's on there. You can. It's the cost is $25. So you can sign up. It's about a 2 hour, little over 2 hour course, and I go through and answer all your questions on breeding, selection of fowl, and all of that, and what to put in your brood pens. Uh, so be sure to check that out. Also, like I said, the books and DVDs are there. Sign up for that. I also want to mention Black Rooster. They are our sponsor here on the show. I am partnered with Nick over here, who is the owner of Black Rooster. We're partnered up on the fowl and the farm now. And Big Mike, my first Derby
Yeah.
since you and I fought, what, 5 6 years ago, 6 years ago, I guess. Uh, First Derby back, and we went 4-0. Nice. Thank you. Nice little Derby win for us. That just when we sparred 16 cocks, and I selected six out of that 16, and out of those six, I ended up picking four to fight, and so they were just knowing when they're ready is really a big thing. Picking the right rooster on the right day is a real. I don't want to say talent, but it's a it's a big plus on towards winning. You know, and it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
that's
how.
what when we had Chris Copus on, that's what he said. He walked in and he touched the rooster. He said, "Okay, this one's good. This one's not. This one's good." And the guys were like, "Wait, but this one's better." And he was like, "I'm
Yeah,
telling you, man,
yeah.
this one's the one right here." And
It
then they won flat
does.
by how he touched them.
Well, and you got to throw all that out. It's great to spar. It's great if he's a three-time winner. All that's great. But if he is not ready on fight day, on show day, if he's not ready, then all that goes out the window. It doesn't matter. Him being a three-time winner only comes into bear, in my opinion, if everybody's ready, if everybody's at the same place when it comes to being right.
Yeah,
So you know, one that spars good is great, but they used to Mike. They would always ask Mike, which ones are you going to fight this time? And Mike used to always say the one that's ready, the one that empties out that gets ready first. That's the one I'm going to fight. So
sure.
makes a big difference.
Well, what though, and that's tough to do here. You know what I mean? Could you call the weights in the night before? Uh, that's a tough. Yeah, it's a tough one to pull off here. So when you do pull it off, it's big here.
Yeah, it's harder to do here because of that early entry,
Yeah,
calling that waits in 24 hours ahead of
sure.
time. You just really gotta. For me, I just look at the roosters and see which one that has it. You can just it's almost like it's tangible to see the one that's really you can tell he's up for it. You know,
Yep.
makes a big difference. So congratulations to us and Black Rooster. So going to be if things work out, going to be showing again this coming weekend. This coming weekend, we'll be showing again back at the same arena, and hopefully we can do a repeat. Uh, uh, they had wanted to turn around and do one this past weekend, and I looked at the Roosters and I said no. Uh, Nick has given me carte blanche over not only what to fight and when to fight, but also what to breed, and so I ixnayed their show this weekend because I didn't feel like they were ready. I didn't feel like that the that the crew was ready.
Yeah,
The everybody was still in celebratory mode. You know,
yeah.
and
Got to come
this
back down
was
to earth.
yeah, this was their first win. This was their first Derby win, and since that crew has been there at the farm, so it's been a long time coming. They got close a lot of times, close but no cigar. That kind of got them over the edge there. I think having a different perspective on things, a different style of doing it. Let's jump right in here, Big Mike. Uh, I guess the number one thing, if it's a passion for you, or if it's a profession, if you're doing it, as a business, uh, does your farm make money? Are
Hmm.
you making money with roosters? Now, my dad used to always say, I can tell you how to make a small fortune raising game fowl. He said, the first thing you do is you start out with a large fortune, and you can turn it into a small fortune very quickly with game fowl because you're going to lose money.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I like I said before, that's how it was. Before COVID, it was money making thing. And post COVID, it has not been. There was a few years right afterwards where I was still, let's say, breaking even. But last year I didn't do anything, and now this year I definitely have plans to turn it around, and I already have a lot of stags. So I think I always use myself as the example because I I'm kind of up and down on it. I get moody sometimes. I just don't want to deal with people. But here, I don't know how. Like here, it's different. Like you said before, there's people who just only buy and fight. So we have an opportunity here where you can make money. But
Yeah,
I would say it depends on what state you're in if you want to be a guy that makes money because there's a lot of people that don't like selling roosters even here in the Philippines.
yeah, yeah. And the thing here is though, with the fighting aspect of it, there's not any money in fighting foul as far as winning a derby, winning the pot money, anything like that. Now there's money made on the gambling side of it. These guys, some of these guys will bet $20,000, $10,000, $50,000. There's these guys but they're not living off that. They're the guys that have already made a ton of money doing something, and that's their betting level.
Sure.
You win a derby here, uh, I know because we just did. You win a derby here, and 80,000 pesos, 90,000 pesos. That's a big, 100,000 peso derby is a big derby here. That's a good size derby. Well, you do the math. That's $2,000.
Yeah.
I remember winning one I was 17 or 18. I won a derby in the states, and took home like $8,900 or something. You know,
Mm.
uh, that gosh, that was 40 years ago. So
Yeah.
so not unusual back then, 30, 40 years ago, to win 10, 15,000 in a derby in the
Yeah.
US. There's no
They
money in
equate
it here.
this is like Vegas. Only the house wins. I mean,
Yes.
even the betting really now. To me, I just equate everything like Vegas. And the only way you can make money here really is if you're selling foul.
Selling
If you're
chicken.
not selling foul, you're not going to make money because, like you said, betting. Me, I don't bet. I won last week. I only bet 500. Florente brings me my 500 pesos Monday morning. So you know I and like you said, guys bet, but they win and they also lose. So I don't even think the betting is a money making a way to do it, making money either, because you win some, you lose some. I think that's just people like you said that got money to piss away.
Yeah, yeah, that part. But so you got to ask yourself if if you're doing this as a passion, then you gotta think about how much money am I willing to spend on my hobby? How much money am I willing to spend for my
I hope my
passion?
wife doesn't. I hope she doesn't watch YouTube this week. Come on, man, I'm trying to.
Screen no money for a screen
Okay.
door my ass. Yeah.
Did April tell you to do this one? Let's fuck with Mike.
uh, oh boy.
You guys
Oh
are
boy.
busting my balls, man.
Yeah. I
I'm
would
trying to
I
keep. I'm trying to
wouldn't
hold it together here, and I'm like, oh, he's digging.
no, 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 I wasn't looking at. You may want to sabotage your internet when as soon as we get off of here and tell her it's going to be
Pimp
next
down,
week, babe.
pimp
Yeah,
down, pimp down, pimp in distress.
Big Mike be messaging YouTube and reporting us on YouTube, get us taken down. They're talking about cockfighting on there. You should ban these people. Uh, but that
Oh
is a
man.
big
Okay.
concern, and just
Yeah.
about just about everybody deals with a spouse, you know, I'd say more than not deal with a spouse that, God, if they knew how much money you were spending, you know, they, you could, over a couple of years' time, you could buy a small Cessna airplane to fly
That's my
around.
white flag. My white flag.
Guys, please, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. Does your wife know how much money you're really spending on your passion? And are you making any money? Are you making any money back?
Yeah, man. Like I said, this has gone farther than I ever thought it would. Actually, this whole cockfighting thing. I just did it for weekend fun back in the day, and this is this is a place where you can really make money at it. And I just had to get back on my bicycle and start pedaling again
Yeah,
after my little hiatus there. But I think in the United States, it would probably be tougher to make money, sustainable. There's a few guys who have done it, but you know, I mean, it's got to be a weekly discussion because it was a weekly discussion in my house about, the when I and like right now there's no bagasso, so I got to buy straight feed, even for my goats and stuff. And yeah, it gets pricey.
well, yeah, and this thing is more addictive than cracking Asian hookers. I mean, it just you get addicted to this, and it just and it's just one more brood cock. If I can get just this is the one I've been looking for. If I can breed this one into my you know, and then next week you see another. Oh my gosh, he only wants $500 for it, baby. I can you know uh, like I
Well,
said.
you know what mine is? You should see these stags I got on the ground right now. I mean, it's it's on. You know what I mean? That's
Oh yeah.
that's how I see it. And I'm like, we're just that close to turning shit around. So,
I wish I had a nickel for every time I'd told that lie. I'm this close. Or 3 more months, and I
yeah,
could.
man, that's right. So I I tell you, man, I'm with the guys. I'm with them on this one. You're trying to hold shit together because you got the goods. You just got to get it on the ground and get it going. So I think that's what keeps us in it. Nobody likes to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you've got a winning record, you want to keep leveling up, and keep it going. But yeah, like you said, is it a passion or a hobby, man? Because like we said before, if you want a hobby, go play golf. It's definitely cheaper than these
Oh,
roosters. That's for
much.
damn.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can just about race cars. I mean, you can
Yeah.
build a drag car for less than you can build a farm and do it. That, so you're looking at guys. We're talking about the difference in guys who just raise fowl and don't really fight that often. They're not making any money off of their fighting them. Versus and they're happy just breeding. You know.
Yeah.
25,
Keeps you
50.
healthy.
you know
Exercise. I mean,
sure,
there's a
sure.
positive side of it.
I'm much better. I got out yesterday and walked we walked all over the farm, uh and and we've been doing a lot of backhoe work and taking down, leveling the mountainside and all that. And we got out yesterday and walked all over the farm. And uh I feel so much better today, because I was out there, and I've been doing that, 3 or 4 days a week, uh, trying to get out there and walk some, and it's causing me to get better. I've lost some weight. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to get around better, and so it's been a big help. But my next question, like I said, you got guys that are doing it as a passion, as a yeah, and you got guys that are doing it. That are making money through the showing and that sort of thing. Uh, my next question is, I guess, to figure out which one how serious you are, if it's a passion or if it's just, or if it's something it's performance. You're wanting to perform and do that. Are you willing to move to make it? Are you willing to
Mm.
move to another state? Are you willing to move to another country to pursue it? I knew a lot of guys when Obama signed the Farm Act back about, oh gosh, 12, 11, 12 years ago, when he signed the Farm Act, and they made it a felony, and all the high fines, $100,000 fine, and 10 years imprisonment, and all of that. When they did all that back in the U.S., of course, we're in the Philippines, so we don't have to deal with any of that. But there was a lot of guys went out of business instantly. They just said, you know what, I'm out, uh, because it wasn't worth it to them anymore. That
Yeah.
they were guys that had a limit to their passion, and of course you got these guys. Bless their heart, as they say in Alabama. Uh, that get on social media, and they'll have to pry them out of my cold dead hands, and I'm as game as my chickens and all that shit. Yeah, well, they haven't come and taken your truck yet, your new truck, or confiscated, shit from when you start dealing with your wife and kids, and they're threatening you're going to lose your job because they're going to put your ass in jail and all that. You may not be as cold dead game as you think you were. Uh,
Yeah.
so, are you willing to move? Uh, 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 to make it? Are you willing to move to another state if they banned everything in your state? Uh, And there was a lot of guys that I remember that when they started taking down states, making it illegal to show them in this state or that state, when it went from a misdemeanor, $25, $50 fine, to a $10,000 fine, and became a felony. There's a lot of guys moved to other states. They moved to Louisiana. I moved to Louisiana. Uh,
Hmm.
they moved to places like New Mexico or Oklahoma, to get to get into a state where the laws were a lot better. So I guess I'm asking the audience: would you be willing to move? Would you be willing to move to another country? Uh, you know, how about you,
Yeah. I
Mike?
mean,
You started out here in the Philippines, so it wasn't a thing.
yeah,
But
but that's why I moved. I mean, I wasn't into roosters. I mean, I had dogs back in the late '90s, early 2000s, and,
I just
and got
started to
out of
say,
that
yeah,
because of what was going on. But I moved from the United States because of the law.
yeah.
The laws just always messing with me for something. And
Do you know why I
uh,
pulled you over?
yeah, that's right. I always say it's been 15 years since I've heard that. You know why I stopped you today? I haven't had one traffic violation, and I saw the writing on the wall, and I wasn't
Yeah.
going to wait, for them to keep, picking at me, like a sore, letting it fester. I left. And so I guess there's certain people that are adventurous like that, that are willing to get on that ship and go somewhere else to set new routes. And that was me. So when I look at the United States now at what's going on, I saw the writing on the wall, 25 years ago before I retired, and kind of had a plan that that's what I was going to do. So I said, yeah, I would, if it was me, I would definitely move, of course, if it was something that I was into. Um, but it takes, it's a lot for some people to uproot themselves. Me, I was already used to it. I was a military, like yourself. You moved around a ton also your whole
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah.
to me, it was just another move, but there was a reason for it. I was tired of the law, and I consider it a good move. I mean, I'm happy I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Yeah, I made the move over here, Mike, and I when I came over here and visited in 20 January 2015, uh, it reminded me of what I always imagined the 1920s, the 1930s were in America. It was live and let live. People don't screw with people here. Everybody's just happy and I mean, it's got its problems. We've talked about that many times, the scam factor and all the things that go into it. But the majority of it was, yeah, nobody breathing down your neck. Everybody treats you good. You can do
Sure.
pretty much anything that you want to do, you know. Just don't be a total asshole, and you won't have to worry about anything over here. Uh, uh, and it's kind of like cockfighting was back then in the 1920s and 1930s. Guys, I remember Mike Ratliff telling me stories about Texas in 1930s, 1940s, you know, brush pits and fighting every weekend, and guys, just big derbies, Orlando tournament, throughout the 40s, and big names. And it was such a, and there was a lot of television, there's a lot of video and TV shows and media, print media, and now of course internet, and of course broadcasting was my other passion. Video production, broadcasting. 30 years as a TV guy, and I was like, holy shit, I can merge these two together and enjoy my life. And so I packed up
Well,
everything.
I think that's the difference, though, right? You just hit the nail right on the head. A lot of guys aren't in a situation where they can, because they work.
Not at
They're
all. Yeah.
working. They're working to support their hobby, their passion, and then just to uproot. You got wife, kids. I mean, think of the expense on that.
I can't imagine moving over here with a wife. I cannot imagine a, a white woman living, being able to adapt to this country. Just it's so
Well,
rare.
yeah, and the farm life is different here than the farm life back there. You know what I mean? Like the farm life in the United States, you still have everything, all your creature comforts. Farm life here,
No, you don't even
um,
have electricity at your farm, so it's
oh
it's
man,
a much no just yeah, farm, and you got, yeah, it's like the farm out there. The toilet is not. Hell, I can't use it. I mean, you know, and I grew up with an outhouse.
you're right, man. Because even at my farm, we basically it is an outhouse. Dug a big pit, put cement slab with a hole for the toilet, sat the toilet on it. But it's a damn local
It's
toilet.
like being a
You
bear. You better be accustomed to shitting in the woods.
you
Because
hover.
that's pretty
You
much.
better have
Yeah,
your
yeah.
thighs better be straight.
No, I can't hover.
Yeah.
My ass weighs too much. It just pull me right over. So I don't even attempt to. Hell, I destroy every toilet seat I sit on. Just about. I'm so big. But that's one of the things out there that when we decided to build new facilities there, we're building a probably going to end up 28 fly pins, the 5x10s fly pins. It's 100 feet long. It's got about a 25 by 30 cockhouse in the middle of it, or something like that, with a bedroom and a private CR and storage room for our stuff. I'll have 28 stalls. I'll have 2 work tables. And then Nick came to me and said, "This is great. Can you add a kitchen, a dining hall for maybe a dozen people, a kitchen, and at least 2 CRs with the showers in both?" So, I've got an inside kitchen, then I've got a dirty kitchen in the back on the porch, what they call a dirty kitchen here, which is basically a outside, uh, where you can fry shit that smells bad and nobody cares because it's outside. You can fry dried fish in the morning. Uh, but you know, because and he's basically a shack there right now, but he's building quarters, sleep quarters for the farm workers, and that on up the hill. He's really
Wow.
completely modernizing the farm. Going to have to put in a couple of septic tanks and all of that, but uh, this farm's been, like they're like, I don't know, 8, 10 years or whatever, and however many years it's been there, and but it's been like your typical farm, a shack that was built and, you know stuff covered
Yeah.
with tarpaulin or tarp, as we say, and thrown together with cardboard boxes and some leftover, you know broken down
Scraps.
pallets used for,
That's right.
yeah, that's typically a farm here. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of Art Lopez show places, farm like he has.
Yeah. No, I mean, the first farm I ever went to in the mountain when I got here, I rode with some of Florente's friends. I followed him up. I used to have motorcycles, so we followed him up there, and it's basically like how mine is now. But I would say my farm workers, my houses are nicer, but basically the same setup. No electricity, and this guy's a big guy. Bet's
Yeah,
big. Um, but I think that the way Nick is doing it is good because he's got a company that that
yeah,
that caters to this industry. And I
yeah,
think in that business you have to have a showpiece that shows, yeah, that what your products do, because if you're not
yeah.
using it, then why should anybody else? So I
Why
think
should
that's
anybody?
a smart move. Um,
The,
and there's a lot of money here to be made off of making smart moves in this
yeah,
industry.
yeah. There is, and even stuff that you deal with out there, like from 3 till 9, they have I think it's a water. They turn the water off every day, right? Is that right? From 3 till 9. Yeah, yeah. They have a water stoppage every day from 3 till 9, and that's kind of things you got to deal with here, like brownouts. That's part of why you decided just to forget the electricity and just work around it, because you know you're dealing
The
with.
only thing I needed electricity for was the incubator. That was it. We used solar lights, the only thing I needed electricity for was the incubator. And now we're using turkey. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the way right there. That's the ticket. I'm telling you, man. That's the best invention ever. Them damn turkeys. They're good hens, man. I tell you what, you can put 20 eggs under them jokers.
yeah,
And that's yeah, we got, like, he's got 5 hens right now sitting, so that, 100 eggs. Who needs an incubator?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
I
Ratliff
lost that
never.
big batch when the power went out. I lost 300 eggs. And that was that said that I just said, you know what, enough is enough, and I took that break, and I said, let's figure some things out here and do some, because that pissed me off. You feed all these hens and roosters and get everything straight, and then the power goes out and all your eggs are shot.
It's disheartening, absolutely. And like Ratliff, Mike Ratliff, all the years that he raised Gamefowl, he never owned an incubator. He never used an incubator. and he was hatching between 1,000 and 2,000 uh, stags a year, raising between 1,000 to 2,000 stags a year without incubators. He had 300 surrogate hens that he set every year. He kept 300 hens, and he would set batch after batch under them, and that's how he did it. He just didn't believe in incubators. So you can do it without them. You absolutely can do it without them. You know, uh, Now they're more convenient here for because these guys fight stags, and stags have to be timed when they're hatched and that sort of thing. And hens fluctuate. You can't tell her, hey, look, the banding committee's coming next September, so you need to
We
you
need you
need to
today.
sit. Yeah, we got your last day tomorrow. You need to be on the eggs. It doesn't work that way with hens. So
And strong. Better get in there and sit.
I was so proud. I got my little 100 egg incubator back out of storage and brought it up here and was fixing to get it all cleaned up and going to replace a fan in it, put a new fan in it. And I told Nick, I said, hey man, I got my incubator. We can use it out the farm if we need it. And he's like, you're not going to need it. I said, why not? We're moving all the breeding here. And he said, well, uh, I guess I didn't tell you. And I said, no. He said, we're opening up this month in May. He said, I've got a hatchery. It's a 10,000 egg hatchery. And he said, you can set all the eggs there. We'll be setting everything there. And I said, oh, of course, you've got a 10,000 egg hatchery. Of course,
Problem
yeah,
solved.
problem solved. Yeah. And it's the thing is, of course, it's got like battery backup, but it's solar. It's set up with solar, is what he told me.
Jesus. There
So
you
I'm
go.
like, that is so cool. That is so cool. I haven't gone and looked at it yet, but I was planning on going over there. He's got a feed store there in town, and that's where it's located. They just finishing the thing up this month. But Big Mike, we're going to take a speaking of Black Rooster, we're going to take a quick commercial break here, and come back and go through a few more of these uh, differences and those that have a passion and those that do this as performance foul as a profession kind of thing. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back after this message.
Yeah, you can be the greatest, you can be the best.
Hey guys, welcome back into the show. Douglas Bruce here, along with Big Mike Fisher. We are coming to you here at Top Spur, the all new Top Spur. Uh, Big Mike, we're talking about the performance versus passion here today. Talking about those that do this just as a hobby and kind of thing, and maybe only fight one or two derbies a year. The big question is always, uh, I see these guys on social media, and about half the time you just want to bitch slap some of them. The comments, they got just enough experience and knowledge to be obnoxious,
Yeah.
and it seems like that almost anybody that sells chickens is considered a peddler, and uh, you know, I, first off, it's like you said, earlier you and I were talking before the show about it kind of being a negative,
Yeah, it's a
almost like
slur.
a slur. Yeah, and uh, but how,
It's never used in a good way. I mean,
no,
when they say somebody's a peddler, they never use it. Well, he's such a good peddler. No, it's
well,
not like that.
is everybody that sells fowl a peddler? Because I mean, here you can't make it unless you can't break even if you don't sell fowl here. And there's a constant string of customers. The last 3 years that I've been out of it, there's been a constant string of messages and phone calls.
Yeah,
Sir, do you have any
that's
pullets for sale? Do you have any sales? Do you have any stags for sale? When are you going to have baby chicks, sir? Constantly
mm,
wanting to buy.
yep. That's what I told Florente. That I needed to get back on it because it's just money sitting there and not being touched. So you got to tap into it. But yeah, I think it here is different. That's what I would say. Here is different. If you peddler or not, if your chickens don't win, nobody's going to buy them. They'll
Yeah.
buy from you once, but if they don't win, they're not coming back. That's just the way it is. And I say in the States, it's the same thing. If a guy sells roosters and they don't turn out to be worth a shit, nobody's coming back. So if a guy's able to make, hundreds of thousands every year selling roosters, he's obviously doing something right. I mean,
Well,
what is a pet?
we talked about on another show a few weeks back about the fact that if you're if you're if you're selling fowl, uh, are those fowl winning today? If you're going to somebody to buy fowl, if you're choosing fowl, are those fowl winning today, or are they just some old dead guy's name? And
Yeah,
it goes along with what you're saying here. Now they play the name game here. They want something to have a famous name, but they want to know if it's winning. Is it winning now? Nobody goes and buys a bloodline here because it's got some unless it's winning. That's
sure.
the first thing they ask you, which I always, when I first moved here, I was like, that is the stupidest question.
Mhm.
Sir, which is your winning line? Well, they better all be winning lines, or I'm not going to feed them.
That's
I'm
right.
not. Who has?
I agree.
This is my losing line over here. These are my losing line. My my pure leaper losers, and yeah, I mean, isn't that a stupid question? Which one is your winning line?
Sure. Yeah, and still all the time that question
They
will
ask
pop
it
up.
all the time. Why
Yep.
would anybody
Still
feed something that was a losing line?
sure.
Of course,
Yeah.
that's why I don't like. And this is a new experience for me with Nick's places. He's got several bloodlines. I've never had that before. I'm a two bloodline guy, and so now there's a lot of good chickens there. But I'm just the kind of guy that likes to simplify things down to one or two or three at the most. Uh, but I have got a chance since I've been here to look at a lot of good qualities in different lines and different bloodlines. So it's not that
Sure.
he's converting me any. I still believe that fewer bloodlines are better, but I am enjoying going through and seeing different types. He whipped out some, and he only has the one, and I don't know if it was a gift from somebody or what. Which he's got some chickens that people gave him at different times, but he's never bred this one or anything. But it's a muff. It's a I don't know what something in muff, and that is the killingest chicken you ever saw in your life. I'm like, you know, that'll make you fall in love with the thing and want to breed it. It just kills everything you put in with it. So, there's a lot of good chickens out there. It just really depends on on uh, uh, on what your preference is. But you know, uh, so what do you say to these people that are constantly anybody that sells chickens is a peddler? You know, a peddler to me is somebody
Well,
that is selling you chickens that he didn't own or or he's buying stuff and turning around and represented as
That's what I.
something different.
That's what I. That's what I was going to say. If you breed them yourself, if you bred them yourself, you're not a peddler. A
Yeah.
peddler to me, because it was the same way with dogs. Guys would go and buy litters from people and then sell them as their own. To me, that's what separates a peddler from an enthusiast. I would say, that's just making some money. The guys who buy stuff from other people, and we've heard stories about people that have won big and then went around and bought stuff up and sold it as their own.
Yeah,
And I think
there was a lot of fowl
that
that got shipped to the Philippines that were supposed to be one thing, and just sweater, uh, you know,
sure,
that's why you've got
yeah,
that's why you've got the
that's right.
same line of chicken here, and some of it are awesome, and some of it you wouldn't. I mean, it's not worth a tie cord.
That's right. And I think that right there is what's going to separate people. So when people start throwing that word around, peddler, I reference it as a person he's talking about. Did they breed them themselves? Well, then they're not a peddler.
Yeah,
That's how I look at it. And
yeah.
also I look at this. They need a good case of mind their own damn business. That's what they need, to get a little bit of that.
Open
Get
up
a
a
little bit
whole
of.
can, yeah.
That's right. Stick your nose in your own ass and quit sniffing around my ass. But I ain't having it.
Yep, yep. You I
And
gotta
and
ask him.
when did grown ass men start acting like a bunch of bitches?
Oh
Worrying
boy,
about
ever
what
since
Tom and
since,
Jerry are doing over here and not minding your own damn business over there. Leave that shit
since
to
the
the women.
invention of Facebook, that's when it came about. Uh, First off, I think the problem is a lack of grown ass men. I think that's the
That's right.
real issue. You know,
Yeah.
but anyway, I mean, and we catch, we talk about it on occasion, but we catch hell all the time, and I'm like, hey, go start your own show. If you don't like what we're doing, it ain't, go do your own thing.
That's right.
Hey, we're
This
over
has
here
never.
doing it.
That's right. And this show wasn't about that. This show is just about me and you talking about chickens. That's it. Our experience, and my experience is just a lot shorter than every. And I remember one time I got caught up in something. Somebody had talked shit on Facebook, and I don't get involved in this ever anymore. Never. It hasn't happened in years. I don't get in that. Somebody said something about they were a better rooster man than I'll ever be, and I said, well, goddamn, you should be, freaking dummy. You should be. You were born into it. Me,
Yeah,
I've only been doing this shit a few years, but I'm winning here.
yeah,
You
yeah,
should be a better rooster man. If you're not, then you're sorry, and you should just sell everything.
yeah,
Because that's
yeah,
not why I do this show with you. I do this show with you because I have fun. I mean, I tell you, we've met people all over the world that are
yeah.
cool with us. I think I could go on a world tour with you and we could stay. We got Ray, we got Ace. I
People
mean,
everywhere,
we can
all over
go,
the.
we can, yeah, Mexico, we can go anywhere in the world. And that, to me, that's enough. If there's a few haters out there that, and yeah, I sell chickens, but if you can't sell a chicken here if you don't win,
Well,
so
I catch hell
it's
about selling books and DVDs and all that, selling education to people. I catch hell about it. Well, you know what? The mentors are gone. All the old time mentors, the Mike Ratliff guys, are all gone. There's not anybody you
yeah,
can go. Then you bitch about the younger generation don't know nothing. They're you need to help them. Okay, well then uh, you know, negative Nancy's are going to be negative Nancy's. They ain't got nothing else to do. Some guy did this meme here a few weeks ago, did a meme and sent it to me, derogatory towards me and you. And I'm like, you probably spent 6 or 7 hours making that shit. I, I am so far in your head.
we're living in that we're living that fool's head rent free, man.
Yeah,
Every
rent
time we speak,
free.
we're humping the beer.
Instead of spending time with your wife and children, you're on your little computer trying to to talk shit about us. I'm like, man, we don't even pay any attention to you people. We're just Mike and I hanging out, doing our thing, laughing. We got our friends that join us every week. we enjoy hearing from the audience. Ain't nobody paying us to do this. We're just having fun. If you want to join us and
No,
laugh with us,
it,
laugh at us, go right ahead.
it,
If you don't,
it
go to some
causes
other channel.
like me having to get this Wi-Fi thing, so because last week we tried to do it, my Wi-Fi kept shutting off, so I had to get a
Yeah.
jumper. So we like doing this, and I think that the people that do watch it know where we're coming from. You
Sure.
know, I'll be glad when we can go live again. This
Yeah,
this
we
doing it
will.
tape is really because I like that feedback. I like people that to chime in and say I like hearing about it. That's why we do it. Guys sitting around comparing notes.
Yep, talking
What's working?
talking talking chicken talk and enjoying ourselves and just we don't think we're better than anybody else, but I'm just now after 5 or 6 years got started fighting back, and very thankful that we actually off to a good start, but we just enjoy this. So guys, uh, uh, if if you like us, watch us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you don't, brother, there are tons of other shows out there for you to watch. It doesn't bother us one way or the other. We just do our thing.
I
Big Mike,
wonder-
fine, go
I
ahead.
still wonder how that. I still wonder how that happens, though. I mean, I guess we can talk about that on another show. Like, how does it happen that people take it so negatively when we're not trying to be negative? I mean, we're just sitting around shooting the shit, man. Just talking
I I
chickens. What
I
worked
don't think.
this week? What worked for you this week? What works for Mark Kelly? 'Cause I tell you what, Mark Kelly, he's another guy that we can use as an example. He came over here, had a tough go at it, but stuck it out. And now he's doing great,
paid paid his
And
dues, and now he's Ace is the same way. I talked to Ace a couple of
Ace,
days ago.
how
You know,
how
he
many
got it
days
dialed
straight?
in, and now he's tearing it up.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that's what we're talking about there. That having that long game and sharing the information because all these guys tell us what's working for them. It's not like they keep it the shit a secret.
Yeah.
And
Well,
anyway, we'll
we're
talk
over
about
here living the dream. We're doing our thing. We're over here living the dream. We're sharing it with the audience on here, which we love you guys and appreciate you guys so much. We really do. And I don't know if they hate it because they're not over here doing it, but you're welcome. Hey, call me up. I don't care if you talk shit about me or not. I don't care if you're a hater or not. Call me up and I'll point you in the right direction how to move over here and not get scammed.
Yeah.
Hell, Mike and I'll help you go find a piece of land to rent. You know, you know, don't bother us at all. Yeah,
Good,
hey,
good
take the
examples
jump.
of that. You and I have had rough goes at it, and
Oh, sure.
stuck it out now. But yeah, so I think that people should tone it down a bit, lower your expectations. We're just here to hang out and have some fun.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And
Last
don't tell
question
my
here.
wife about
Yeah,
how
and
much it costs.
don't tell, don't. uh, last question here, Mike. Are you happy with your current situation when it comes to your farm and your fowl? If you could go back and change anything over the last, say, 10 years, what would it be? What would you go back and do differently? You know,
Mm,
uh,
man, I tell you what, that's a tough question, man. I tell you what,
that's
that's
why that's
a
why they pay me the big bucks.
yes. So, man, Jesus, man, it's some ESPN getting down deep stuff here, man. Uh,
I'm Brian Gumbel.
you know
Yeah,
what? I tell you what. Yeah, there's a one thing when my buddy died, when our friend died. Uh, I
Steve
wouldn't
the
have
Greek.
went hog wild and accepted everything because the stuff that was sick, because the wife didn't have money and wasn't feeding us chickens by the time I got there. By the time she talked to me about it, and I went there and looked, I should have just walked away from a bunch of it, and just picked out a few of the select stuff. But I tried to nurse stuff back to health. It just there was no nursing it back, and it set me back. Um, it really did. It set me back a little bit.
Well, and I know
Um,
why you did a lot of that. Part of
but
that was
that's
in memory of him, trying to
yeah,
keep his legacy alive. And he was one of those guys that he scared away people that didn't take the time. The only people that stuck around, Steve, was people that were really interested in him because his personality bigger than life, or he's a big old like talking to a damn polar bear. Uh,
yeah,
uh, he was a grizzly guy on the outside, uh, but I always thought that he was kind-hearted, uh,
yep,
a
sure,
good guy at heart. And you hate to see his life's work go to shit because he passed away. So I
sure,
understand a lot of why you did that, but yeah,
yeah.
I can see that old
But I
thing
think
of less is more.
that two bloodline rule, man. There's something to it.
Yeah.
There's really something to the two bloodline rule, and hone that. You don't need 15 different bloodlines. Here you can do it. You make money because you're going to be selling stuff to fight. But it in the long run, I just don't know that it's worth it. I still
Well,
think the two bloodlines
that's
the way to do it.
and I've told Nick, I said, look, I'm not trying to insult you, and I'm not saying this isn't good or that isn't good because a lot of them are good. You know,
Hmm.
you can have everything and it all be good, but I've told him, sharp axe is really, you know, that's that's what leads to perfection is a sharp axe, and you just can't stay invested in so many bloodlines. So I say over time, over periods of time, that I will whittle down. I'm already whittling down on things and get them down to where it's a manageable number. Now this is a different situation than my farm, you know, previously where I'm just breeding for myself. We are breeding to sell chickens. We are planning on working. We're doing 4 or 5 expos a year and that sort of thing. So it is a commercial farm. So where we are fighting and we are selling as well. So that's the way it's done over here. I guess the big thing for me that I would have done differently, and I've said this a few times, but I really do mean it. I would have came over here 30 years earlier. Uh, that would be the one thing I would go back and change. I would come over here 30 years earlier. Of course, April would have been 6, and I would have had to remain celibate and wait for her to grow up. But I'm getting the eye rolling over here from the cheap seats. I'm getting the eye rolling, you know, But other than that I wish I would have known about the Philippines 30 years earlier, and uh,
Sure.
and I definitely would have come and set up.
Yeah, early
You,
is better. Early is better. You can
yeah,
the
it is, but you
mobility.
gotta have an income to come here. You can't come. You have to come here to retire or come here and have an online. Because there was no online 30 years ago, I don't guess. Uh, uh, so probably would not have worked out. But Big Mike, that's it. We're out of time. We'll jump off of here. Appreciate all the audience, guys. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. You can reach me and Big Mike. You can message us at Bruce and Big Mike at gmail.com, or you can leave it in the comments. We do read the comments and try to answer you back if we can. Uh, uh, we appreciate all of you tuning in, and we love you. We will see you later. Big Mike, I'm going to give you the final word, buddy.
All right, guys. Good being back. We'll see you next week.